trainer in Buddy McGirt. Last fight, he was dropped. He went to the decision, so he wasn't happy with that. He made changes. So let's start there, Mikey. Your thoughts on the trainer change?
Well, look, he obviously felt that he needed maybe a different trainer to sometimes highlight other things that are necessary, especially when you're moving up now with higher class opponents. You're fighting top tier fighters, and you want to just refine as much as you can. That's sometimes what you need, a new trainer, a new voice that can teach you, not necessarily teach you, but remind you of certain things that you might have lost, while you're getting so comfortable with your previous trainer. And we did see that body shot that you mentioned 2 years ago. I was sitting right here when I seen that. He looks great. He's been developing very, very great as a fighter. I'm excited to see him again.
It really shows a lot of maturity for a 25-year-old, right? He's undefeated, so he could easily keep doing what he's doing. But he said he wanted to be brought to another level, right? He wants to continue to be great, and he wasn't happy, of course, getting knocked down in his last fight, even though he won. So let's now turn the attention to starting our prelim card is his brother, Federico Pacheco Jr. And I would say, Sophia, little brother, but he's actually an inch taller, and I think he's like 70 pounds higher. He's a heavyweight. And so I know you've spent time with Federico. You've seen him in action. This is a big opportunity for him on this card.
Yes, most definitely. And having this opportunity back here in LA in front of friends and families, and he is no stranger to the war grounds. We saw him fight here in 2023, I believe, and he's going to start the show off for us, and his brother Diego is going to finish the night off for us.
It's an excellent card, top to bottom. Let's talk about some of the other storylines in our main card. Andy Cruz is in action, and I feel like this is a 100% must-win fight, especially after taking the devastating loss last fight. When they announced the decision, Cruz went to the canvas. He was in agony. He got back up. He's competing here tonight. Another fighter that I need to ask you about, Mikey, you're very familiar with him, and that is Chop Chop Gonzalez.
Yes.
He's trained by your brother.
Yes.
And he has an amazing story about turning his life around. Your thoughts on Chop Chop?
Look, I think a lot of people can relate to a young kid who's coming from humble beginnings, rough neighborhood, and overcoming those life challenges and becoming successful and look of a better life for his family. He had his older brother who tragically passed away, and all of these challenges that life has thrown at him, he's able to overcome and still pursuing greater things through boxing. I think a lot of people can love the story, can appreciate him fighting in the ring tonight. We're here to expect a great night from him.
Absolutely. So that's our main card, 4 amazing fights, and before that, 4 incredible fights with various storylines. And let's take a look at our preliminary card and the fights that we're actually going to be looking at here tonight. And we talked about Federico Pacheco is going to be opening up the show. Frank Espinoza is in action. Sammy Contreras, he's been known as the next Oscar De La Hoya, potentially. And, of course, Leo Atang is going to be in action. He's a big heavyweight. He's making his U.S. debut. So, Sophia, let me ask you this. We've spoken about a lot of the fighters on this card. I feel like Leo Atang has a huge opportunity here. It's only his second time in America, first time fighting on U.S. soil. He's only 19 years old, 6'6". He's an incredible heavyweight. He generally knocks you out. The time he didn't, he was very upset that he didn't get the knockout. He's still young, he's still learning, but a lot of potential ahead for Leo Atang.
Yeah, he's very excited to be here and put on a show. Something about his hand speed, he knows that he's not able to show what he can do throughout the later rounds because all of his fights have been ending early, so he's trying to show his skills and show what he can do, even in the later rounds. So let's see if he goes for the knockout, finds opportunity, or if we see it go the distance.
We shall see. That will be at heavyweight. Also at heavyweight, the first fight of the evening. So let's take a look at the tail of the tape for our opening bout. That is Federico Pacheco versus Nick Jones. This is going to be a great battle of 2 big men in the heavyweight division. Federico weighed in at 231. Nick Jones weighed in at 206. And there is going to be a little bit of a height difference, 6'5" to 6'3". It should be an excellent fight to start our card. And Federico certainly setting the tone for the Pacheco brothers before his brother Diego Pacheco in the main event of our main card. Let's get the action started. Let's go up to the center of the ring. Here is David Diamante.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to Dignity Health Sports Park here in beautiful Carson, California, USA. We are live on DAZN for a big night of world-class professional boxing. We begin tonight with a 6-round heavyweight affair set to make his ring walk from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Nick Jones.
Opening bout of the evening, Nick Jones versus Federico Pacheco Jr. This one is scheduled for 6 rounds in the heavyweight division, and I think Eddie Hearn at the press conference was talking about Federico Pacheco. Hey, there's potential there. He's a heavyweight. Leo Atang is a heavyweight, so maybe there's some potential opportunities there. I spoke to Nick Jones earlier today. He said he stepped away from boxing, but he's been keeping in shape because he's actually been working in the oil mines. So he's been doing that kind of work, but staying ready for a big opportunity, and he feels like he sees something in Federico Pacheco, a young fighter who may have vulnerabilities, guys.
Well, he does have experience, and he also has a lot of knockouts under his victory, so he can always be very dangerous, especially against a young kid like Federico, who is still learning, still maybe a little less experienced, and sometimes you get a little overexcited, and a guy like Nick Jones can actually capitalize on an opportunity like that. I think it's a great matchup.
Nick Jones is in the ring, ready for his big opportunity here tonight. He can play spoiler. Yes, he's been away from the game for a couple of years, but he knows what a win over a Pacheco could do for his career, and he's motivated, ready for this big matchup and getting this chance here at Dignity Health Sports Park, the War Grounds. Certainly ready for Federico Pacheco.
And now entering the arena, please welcome the young, undefeated heavyweight fighting out of South Central Los Angeles, California, Federico Pacheco Jr.
Making his way to the ring, Federico Pacheco Jr., the younger brother of tonight's headliner. He's opening the show. His older brother, Diego, will be closing the show. We know Diego is known for his height at 6'4". Federico, he's actually 6'5", and he's fighting tonight at heavyweight. He weighed in at 231.2 pounds. So everyone is, of course, looking at what Diego did, guys. But Federico, he's only 22. He's also fighting in his home, so huge opportunity here for him.
Huge opportunity, and like you said, he's a young guy, hungry, ready to make a statement tonight. As we said, the heavyweight division is emerging, and he's one of the only Mexican ones here.
That's a big boy.
Here we go. Federico Pacheco ready to open up our card. We have 4 fights on our prelims and then switch over to the zone for our main card here tonight. Of course, it's all leading up to Diego Pacheco versus Immanuwel Aleem. Our fighters are in the ring. They are ready. Let's go into the ring. Here's David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, what an absolute pleasure it is to welcome everybody here today to the War Grounds, a.k.a. the Punch Bowl, a.k.a. Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California. We are live on DAZN for a big night of world-class professional boxing. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored tonight by Bet Online, Drip, Events 365, Riyadh Season, O'Reilly Auto Parts, Gomez Law Firm, and the 10% Club. This first bout is in association with Golden Boy Promotions, and it is all tonight's bouts are sanctioned under the auspices of the California State Athletic Commission. The commissioner is Peter Villegas. The executive officer is Andy Foster. Introducing your three judges scoring our first contest from ringside: Carla Caiz, Tiffany Clinton, and Pat Russell. And at the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring, referee Thomas Taylor. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he wears blue trunks with white trim. He scaled 206 3/4 pounds. His professional record, 9 victories, 5 defeats, with 6 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nick Jones. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears black trunks. He scaled 231 1/4 pounds. His professional record, perfect. 10 fights, 10 victories, 7 of his 10 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of South Central Los Angeles, California, here is the undefeated Federico Pacheco Jr. Pacheco Jr.
Coach, can I be on this side? Coach, on this side? Thank you. All right, trunk's a little high over here, so we're going to the bottom of the title here. We're going right underneath the D on this side, gentlemen. You both got my instructions in the back. Protect yourselves at all times. Listen to my commands. Touch them up. Back to your corner, gentlemen.
Nick Jones considers this an opportunity for redemption. Last time he was in this building, he faced tough F.A. Ajagba, was knocked out in round 1, and he's looking at this as an opportunity to essentially right that wrong. On the other end, Federico Pacheco Jr., you heard the crowd pop. He's the local favorite. He's in action here tonight. This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds in the heavyweight division. Referee Thomas Taylor holding up the action just to get everything all set underway. We are underway. Karan Bhatia on the call, joined by Mikey Garcia and Sofia Gutierrez. Federico Pacheco Jr. in the black trunks. Nick Jones in the blue trunks. And away we go, guys, on our prelims.
That's it, baby. That's it. Be first. Let him feel you. He don't want it.
And Mikey, let me ask you about this. We know Pacheco is part of the fighting family, and I don't know if there's many people as qualified as you to talk about what it's like to be part of a fighting family. Of course, the Garcias, Robert, your brother, your father. Can you talk a little bit about the pressure to be part of a fighting family, but also the support that you get? I think you have inbuilt sparring at all times as well.
Yeah, no, look, it's great to see your older brother, become successful, become world champion. I think that has, helped me. It obviously helped me through my career to grow up and see my brother go through training camps, go through the big world title fights. I think Federico is looking at, his older brother, Diego, like that too, learning from him, growing up, watching him train and now achieving some great levels of success in boxing. I like Federico taking his time right now, being very patient. He's not carried away. He's not overexcited. I think all that has also translated from watching so much boxing with his family, with his brother. That translates into becoming a better patient fighter, calm, analyzing his opponent. Nick Jones over here is starting to throw a lot of punches, but it's still a filling out round.
Definitely
and Pacheco's just taking his time.
Definitely a feeling out round, and you can see both fighters trying to position themselves to get inside with the jab. To your point, Mikey, it seems like Federico is okay getting some of the rounds in, right? He's had a couple decisions. He's got 7 knockouts to his 10 wins. But for a young fighter, I mean, getting rounds in is definitely not a bad thing.
No, definitely. And he's showing a lot more patience, a lot more composure than other fighters at 10 fights, He's showing more experience. Like I said, part of that might be from watching his brother, fight and train alongside. He's being calm, collected, looking for the right opportunities. I wouldn't be surprised if I see a good right hand, by the end of the round, just to close the round. He's doing very well.
We'll see if anyone knows what to look out for. It is Mikey Garcia. Moments ago, a left hook landed by Jones. Pacheco also landed one of his own, so they traded that. But it was a battle of position, a battle of geography, trying to get onto the inside. And that takes us to the end of round one in our opening bout. 4 bouts in our prelim card here today, and then 4 bouts on DAZN, all leading up to Diego Pacheco, the brother of Federico, back in this building, back in his home, where he had that exciting 6-round body shot knockout, emphatic win in 2024. Now he's back. So let's talk a little bit about that opening round, Mikey. We spoke about the battle of the jab. It's interesting. With heavyweights, you don't always see that, right? And it seemed like, in a way, these guys were getting the distance as they would if they were fighters in a lower weight class.
Look, I think, again, Pacheco showed a lot more experience than his record shows. And for being only 22 years old, again, that shows that he's been trained well. He has been watching his brother. They're both feeling each other out. And that's part of learning, part of development, and also picking out the game plan for the fight.
And you mentioned, Mikey, that you expect to see the right hand at some point unleashed from Federico. So do you expect to see that early in round two?
I see that because I see Jones keep carrying his left hand a little low. And if Pacheco picks that up, he's going to try to land that right hand.
And you notice there Jones rushing in, and Mikey, I'd be curious to your thoughts. There's a big right hand for Pacheco, just like Mikey Garcia called it, right on cue. And that's what I was going to say. It seemed like when Jones was coming in, he was leaving himself pretty open.
Exactly. He has his left hand a little slightly low below the chin line, and Pacheco can see that. He'll capitalize on that opportunity.
And remember, there is the emotional component here for Nick Jones. Last time he was in the building, he took a knockout loss. He said this was his time to turn that around. He stepped away from boxing for a few years, wanted to wait for the right opportunity. He felt like Federico Pacheco was the right opportunity.
And he's not doing bad. Jones is doing fine. He's putting some pressure, trying to land a couple of jabs, walking Pacheco back, trying to land a couple of combinations.
It looks like it might be a problem with the bicep. You can see it there, the right bicep, and that's going to be it. Thomas Taylor waves off the fight, and you can visibly see that, Mikey, his right bicep.
He tore that muscle.
And it's obviously a very frustrating moment for Nick Jones. I think it's also a little frustrating for Federico Pacheco, because I know he was probably looking forward to this opportunity. The fight was just getting going.
Not the way you want to win your fight, not the way you want to end the fight. Unfortunate for Jones, got that injury on his bicep there.
taking care of Nick Jones, making sure.
I was gonna get you tonight.
Good.
I was gonna get you.
Hopefully you get better
Oh no. All right.
Just give me somebody that don't break down. Come on.
And Mikey, maybe you can speak to this a little bit. Both these fighters went through a full training camp for this opportunity. Not ideal to have this. Now, can you get right back in the, obviously not Nick Jones, but Federico Pacheco. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. Let's throw it up to David Diamante in the center of the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Thomas Taylor calls a halt to this contest. The official time of the stoppage, 1 minute, 31 seconds of round number 2. Declaring your winner by TKO, he's still undefeated, Federico Pacheco Jr.
Federico Pacheco will get the 11th win of his young career, only 22 years old, representing Los Angeles, California. And we're actually going to hear from Federico Pacheco. Let's go into the ring here, Sophia.
Federico, congrats. You started the night for us. Your brother's finishing it off. I know you were just kind of getting the gears going into that second round. What can you tell us about your performance?
Hey, I'll take the win, but, I had the first feel-out round, feeling him out a little bit. Second round, I started feeling my right hand on the money. The first right hand I threw, it landed flush, so I just knew it was going to be a matter of time now. And I think he knew that as well, so that was it.
Now let's talk about you being able to fight here in LA, your hometown, in front of friends and families. You fought here also in 2023. Yeah. How good does it feel to be back here on the same card as your brother?
Oh man, I see a familiar face literally everywhere I turn. So this is amazing. I appreciate everybody that's here, everybody that came out early just to watch me. I appreciate you guys, and I wanted to set the tone with a good knockout. Still got a stoppage, and I know my brother's going to close the show with a fucking bang, so everybody stay here. Yes, sir.
Well, congrats on the win. When can we see you back inside the ring?
You can see me back. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna for sure announce something by next week because I'm ready to go. So just stay tuned, and I'm going to for sure be back as soon as possible.
Congrats on the win. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Sophia. So, Mikey, what we were talking about before they announced the official particulars, obviously Nick Jones is going to be out of the ring for some time. He has to heal that bicep injury. It didn't look good. But the question now turns to 22-year-old Federico Pacheco. He just went through a training camp. He just had a round and a half of action. When do you think he can get back in there on a professional level?
Look, when you're a young kid like him, 22, you don't need a whole lot of time to recover. The fight was, a round and a half. He didn't get hurt, never took any damage. Training camp is probably the harder part harder than the fight. But he should be able to come back, give it another 2 months, and he should be back in the ring soon. Especially to stay active and stay busy. He said himself, he's probably going to announce something next week.
He's probably going to announce something next week. And the interesting part, he said, hey, if you're here for my brother, stay here. You would imagine fans that have come in to see Federico Pacheco are also going to be fans of his brother. That's just the way it is in a fighting family. So I think it was a disappointing end, but it still counts as a win for Federico Pacheco. Takes the win, the young 22-year-old does, and moves on. Coming up next, we have an explosive, fun matchup, and that is Frank Espinoza. He's in action against Luis Caraballo. And the reason I say fun/explosive, so Frank Espinoza, 4-0, all 4 wins by knockout. Now, Caraballo, yes, he's got 8 losses, but he's also got 8 wins, and all of those are by knockout. So when he wins, he knocks you out. So what do you look forward to in a fight like this? Obviously, it has the making of an all-action fight.
It's got to be fireworks, man. Both fighters, all of their victories by knockout. Can't expect anything less than in fireworks, man. These are the kind of fights that get the crowd excited. It's early in the day, but you need fights like this to get the crowd going. And also a guy like Luis Caraballo, who even though he has 8 losses, all of his wins are by knockout. He's always a threat. He's always going to be dangerous. You can never overlook someone like him. So he's got the power. It could go either way.
It certainly could. And while we have a moment here, Sophia, let me ask you. the elements, I think, are going to play a factor, right? We can feel the heat here. Obviously, we are outdoors in Carson, California at the War Grounds. But that can also have an effect, I'm sure, with the fighters in the ring. Of course, there's sweat to deal with, overheating, things like that. We've seen that in the World Cup. I don't think there's any hydration breaks. Of course, you have the 1 round, the 1 minute in between rounds, but they're not going to stop the action for a hydration break here. So how do you think the fighter's going to deal with the elements?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, it's something that I think starts in camp. When you're in the gym, AC, yeah, it might feel good to have a couple fans going, but when you're in the heat, you're ready for anything. You know, you're learning to work under difficult conditions that don't go your way.
So we talked about training camp and how that affects your preparation. Mikey, let me ask you, what is of course, your brother, famed trainer Robert Garcia, what is the Robert Garcia mindset for training camp? Is the heat on blast? Is there AC? What's it like in there?
When you know you're fighting in certain heat, you definitely turn off the AC. You do not train with the AC. You don't want to get, your body accustomed to a certain temperature, and then you come and fight in such a heat, or when the heat stroke, you might pass out during the fight. So you need to get your body used to training in the elements that you will be fighting. And so I assume these guys also took that into account and have trained in the proper elements so they can be more or less accustomed to this heat, because it is a warm day today here in Carson.
It absolutely is. Right now, it's close to 3 p.m. local time. Later tonight, Federico's brother, Diego Pacheco, will be in action. Let's take a look at Diego Pacheco, the young super middleweight who's been making headlines.
He came in there trying to be kind of a tough guy. I grew up in South Central, so being a tall kid, good looking, I had to deal with that my whole life, so it's nothing for me.
He knows what's at stake. That's why he's projecting himself to say that I'm not confident. I'm 100% confident.
Like I told him, he should be thanking me for this instead of talking crazy.
When you get selected and when you get certain fights that's tailored for you to win and get pushed for it, it's a way easier route.
Lester Martinez had a great fight. He did some good things in that fight, but I feel like against me, he won't have any success at all.
It's the animal mentality, it's animal mode, and you'll get to see that July 18th. It will be unleashed.
As every time I fight in LA, I've always gotten a knockout. His level is below I am, so I'll show that Saturday night. He knows what's coming.
And let's take a look at the tail of the tape for our second bout of the evening. Frank Espinoza, 4-0, all 4 wins by knockout. Luis Caraballo, 8-1, but 8 of those wins by knockout. They weighed in close to the 160-pound limit. You see the height difference there for Espinoza. And Espinoza from California, Caraballo making his way from Puerto Rico. So it should be a fascinating matchup for as long as it lasts. It definitely has the feel of a don't blink fight, and that is based on the power that both men have, and also the magnitude of this opportunity here at the War Grounds. And let's go inside the ring. Here's David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are set to go with our next bout of the evening. 6 rounds middleweight, set to make his ring walk, fighting out of La Perla in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Corazón de Oro, Luis Caraballo.
Making his way to the ring, Luis Caraballo, proudly representing Puerto Rico. We've been telling the story all night that he's got 8 wins, 8 of them by knockout. Yes, he's got some losses, but I think that means that, Mikey, obviously when he beats you, he can do so decisively.
With that kind of power, I mean, like I say, you can never blink. You can never count him out. A hurt man is always a dangerous man. Even with losses, he's always going to be a threat to any guy he faces.
He certainly will be. There's also extra motivation for him. His last fight was in March against Justin Figueroa. That fight was declared a no contest after Ramos was injured due to an accidental foul. You can watch it back and see the fighters kind of fall on each other, and So it's almost similar to our opening bout here in the prelims. I mean, that's frustrating when you're just getting going in early in a fight. So he wants to come in here and right that wrong, right that no contest, and get a chance to be active.
For sure. I mean,
and now entering the arena, please welcome the young undefeated charge from Sacramento, Frank Knuckles Espinoza.
Frank Espinoza, 4 fights, 4 knockouts, 1 mission on his mind. He's training with the legendary Ray Woods out of a garage gym. It's an unlisted private address. Ray Woods is very selective about who he trains with. Woods is actually the stepfather of Diego Chico Corrales. And Frank Espinoza said, my goal for this, for my career, is to give Ray Woods his next and maybe last world champion. And so he's well on his way, 4-0, 4 knockouts. But that's his mission tonight.
Oh, it's a good mission to have, man. Young and hungry.
It certainly is, and we know how many battles have been fought on these grounds, the war grounds here in Carson, California, legendary venue. Some of the best fights we've seen in recent memory. Fighters are in the ring, and we are underway. We are ready to get underway for our second prelim bout of the evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carson, California, live on DAZN. We are set to go with our next bout of the evening, and it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with Pacheco Presents. Introducing your 3 judges scoring this contest from ringside: Carla Caiz, Tiffany Clinton, and Jack Reese. And at the sound of the bell, your 3rd man in the ring, referee Ray Armendariz. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting under the red corner, he wears red with white trim. He scaled 161 pounds. His professional record, 8 victories, 8 defeats, 1 draw, all 8 of his wins coming by way of knockout. Peleando desde La Perla, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Corazón de Oro, Luis Caraballo. Caraballo. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears blue with white and orange trim. He scaled 159 3/4 pounds. His young professional record thus far perfect: 4 fights, 4 victories, all 4 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Sacktown, Sacramento, California. Ladies and gentlemen, the young, hard-hitting, undefeated Frank Knuckles Espinoza.
All right, look here. From here on up is good for you. De aquí para arriba está bien para ti. Any punches along those lines are going to be considered fair. Ya te di instrucciones en el vestidor. I gave you instructions in the dressing room. Quiero una pelea limpia. I want a clean fight. Choque guantes. Touch them up. Back to your corners, gents.
And we spoke about Luis Caraballo's last fight, the no contest. Before that, earlier this year, he had a first-round TKO win. So he's looking to keep his 2026 going. Standing across the ring, though, is young, hungry, undefeated Frank Espinoza. This is the second fight of our prelim card here at the War Grounds. Matchroom Boxing on DAZN. Karan Bhatia joined by 4 division world champion Mikey Garcia and Sofia Gutierrez. We're here in Carson, and this fight is scheduled for 6 rounds in the middleweight division. Frank Espinoza is in the brown trunks, Luis Caraballo in the red.
Not a whole lot of filling out around for these two. They started swinging pretty hard right away, man.
Yeah, you know, something that Frank had said is that he was so excited in his last fight that this fight, his focus was just to feel his opponent out, break him down so he can really showcase his skills, and he's getting right to it.
He's getting right to it, man.
And this fight is already a phone booth fight. These guys are nose to nose, and you see hooks to the body, power shots from both guys. There was a right hand upstairs moments ago by Espinoza that certainly got the attention of Caraballo. We spoke about the theme here, don't blink, and that is playing itself out here in the ring. Mikey, last fight, we were surprised to see them feeling it out. Not feeling it out here at all.
No, I seen these guys right away swinging so hard. I'm like, oh, wow. No wonder they got all the wins by knockout. They might have slowed down just a little bit now, but Espinoza landing some good overhand rights. Now he's starting to jab a little bit more.
And I wonder if, Mikey, you can speak to this at, fighting at the highest championship level. Is there a little bit of that adrenaline dump? Like you've gone through such a big camp, and now you're out there, you're so amped and pumped, and you kind of just go right at your opponent.
It happens when you're in the earlier stages of your career because you're so excited, But with experience, you learn to tame that and be patient, be calm. But that comes with experience. I mean, that's exactly what we saw right now. They came out swinging right away. Now Espinoza kind of took a little step back, a little bit better, punch placement, and seems to be taking control more now.
Absolutely. Some left hands downstairs to the body, right hand upstairs. There's another clubbing shot by Espinoza. You spoke about the age. Espinoza, only 20 years old. And he's got 4 fights under his belt. There's a right hand and a left downstairs. There's a left uppercut for Espinoza. And Caraballo is hanging in there. He's throwing back. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, he landed a couple good shots earlier in the round, too. So he landed some good overhand rights as well. I think Espinoza's starting to take control more. But you see Caraballo still swinging back and still making damn.
There's some good body work by Espinoza. Look for a moment that Caraballo's knees buckled. Espinoza swarmed him as we close out round 1, but certainly to the point of Mikey Garcia, it seemed like the momentum was going in the favor of young Frank Espinoza.
That's exactly.
Frank Espinoza turned pro at the end of 2025. He's had a perfect 2026, 3 wins, all by knockout. He's never seen a round 4 in his life. This fight is scheduled for 6. We'll see if it gets there. I'm curious, Mikey, to your thoughts. The end of round 1 there, as Caraballo was backing up and Espinoza was going to the body, it did seem like Caraballo's knees buckled a little bit.
He did a little bit. I think he might have been a little off balance also. His feet might have been a little too far apart, but he did get hit with like an overhand right that buckled him a little bit too.
We'll see how that plays out in round 2. This one is scheduled for 6 at 160 pounds.
Guys, that corner, red corner.
Espinoza in the brown trunks, Caraballo in the red. Both guys picking up where round 1 left off, and that is trading on the inside. Some left hooks, some uppercuts, and one thing that has been consistent is the body work by Espinoza. Massive left hand lands for Espinoza.
Pretty good to see a young fighter like Espinoza also look for the body shots, not forget about punching the body. Sometimes you get too excited and go for the knockout and try to hit nothing but headshots, but he's actually been working the body very well.
Espinoza has been showing Caraballo a wide variety of punches. There's the body work, and you can see Caraballo now covering up. Clearly, these shots doing damage, and to Mikey Garcia's point, investing to the body. It's a great way to slow your opponent down, especially the way that Caraballo came out in that round 1. And we have a corner report from the corner of Frank Espinoza. Sophia, what do you have?
That's right. His coach said, keep it simple. You heard him. Now you just have to be patient and watch that opportunity to go that uppercut in the middle. Other than that, good defense. Just keep your hands up.
And sounds like a little bit, keep doing what you're doing. And clearly the end of round 1 was successful. The beginning of round 2 has been successful for Espinoza. And the question will be, can Caraballo keep up the pace that he started the fight with? And it's going to be difficult with this body work. The left hand upstairs for Espinoza in combination. Left uppercut lands. And he's not letting Caraballo hold him. Now throwing upstairs. Here comes Frank Espinoza. And Mikey, to your point, you noticed that Caraballo did start holding a little bit in round 2, and obviously the fatigue and the body shots that he's absorbing play into that.
He's taking some damage now. I think Espinoza's starting to really impose his power and boxing. So I like his punch placement too. Good body shot, comes up with an uppercut, overhand right. He mixes it up so well. It's difficult for Caraballo to figure out, where the punches are coming from. Well,
there's a huge right hand for Caraballo. Answers back. But it has been mostly here, Frank Espinoza. I think one thing, too, Espinoza, yes, he's investing to the body. Yes, he's going upstairs as well. But he's also moving really well, too. He's not giving Caraballo a sitting target.
Oh, for sure. He's well taught. Good trainers, good school.
10 seconds left in round 2. Here in Carson, California, the War Grounds. It's been home to so many great action fights. Fighters know that coming in here. They know the history here, and they look forward to competing here, right?
There's been some great matches here in this city, in Carson, especially in this arena here. Now the Dignity Health Sports Park. I remember back in the day, it went through different names, but some great fights have been, taking place here. Fight of the Year candidates, and if not Fight of the Year fights for sure. So you do have some pressure to deliver when you're fighting.
If you come here, there's a lot of history to contend with, and we know about Vasquez Marquez 3. Provodnikov versus Bradley was here. We talked about Diego Pacheco last time he was here. He won by emphatic knockout to the body. So there is pressure. It's also, if you look around here, it's the way that the venue is set up. It's very intimate, and it seems like the fans are kind of right on top of you, right?
Yes, it's very intimate. Every seat here is a great seat. And you can hear the fans, you can hear the punches, you can hear the blows, from the stands. You still hear them, so.
Time in, let's go. Box.
Here we go.
And the action will continue. And I'm curious, Mikey, how does a venue like this compare to, we know you fought in venues as big as Dallas Cowboy Stadium, things like that. How does a venue like this compare?
Well, it just, puts you right with the fans. I mean, big venues are great. You get a lot.
There's no hiding here, right?
No hiding. You're here. It's a phone booth, bro. I mean, you're so small, that the fans are literally right next to you. I think I see the body language of Caraballo starting to slow down, start to wear down. You can see his punches are not with that serious threat like they were in the first few rounds. Even though he's still swinging, but I don't think they have the same power behind him. On the other hand, you see Espinoza started to land some bigger shots.
Espinoza has maintained his power into this round 3. We mentioned Espinoza's never seen a round 4, so he'll look to continue that in this fight. And he's definitely putting a hurting onto Caraballo. Here comes Frank Espinoza.
Might not see that 4th round today either.
I got you.
Caraballo holding on, trying to get a little break. Right hand upstairs blocked by Espinoza. There's another body shot, and now a swarm of punches upstairs by Espinoza.
Caraballo holds on. Tie him up.
Right hand upstairs, partially blocked by Caraballo. And it seems like, Mikey, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Espinoza is now maybe lining up a big power shot, trying to get that time and get that distance right.
Yeah, he's trying to time him, trying to find the right distance. He lands some good uppercut right there. I think he's going to land a good right hand. Nope, just like that. He almost took him down with that one. And I think I seen him do that a couple of times, so I think he's practicing for that or waiting for that.
1 point holding. Oh, come on, man.
And that will be 1 point for holding. Referee Ray Armendariz is going to take 1 point away from Luis Caraballo. We mentioned the excessive grabbing and holding there to get a break, and a point will be taken away. And that's just giving Espinoza even more motivation here. Left hand, right hand upstairs, followed by a shot to the body. Oh, huge uppercut by Espinoza, and another. And that will be ruled a slip. Referee Ray Armendariz rules that one a slip, but
those body shots are starting to pay because his legs are no longer strong. Oh, that right hand.
The legs look very weak for Caraballo. 10 seconds to go in round 3.
Looks like he's going to see round 4.
And that does close out round 3. New territory for Frank Espinoza. I don't think he's worried about it, though, in terms of how controlled he is in the ring. And we spoke about this last fight, but it's probably a good thing for a young fighter to get rounds under your belt. Espinoza only 20 years old.
For sure. I mean, when you're up and coming, young, developing fighter, it's good to get rounds. It's experience. It teaches you to be patient. Not every guy you're gonna knock out in the first round. You know, it's little lessons like that that allow you to develop as a better fighter for the future of your career.
Before this fight, Frank Espinoza said, "I'll make sure they don't stop it in the corner." He's going down in the time. As we say that, they stop it in the corner. So Frank Espinoza doesn't get his wish to stop it in the ring, but he still gets a TKO win, and I'm sure he's going to be thrilled about that, getting the win. And he still never really saw round 4.
He never saw round 4. Yeah, but you can see that Caraballo was starting to, feel the pain, feel the hurt. His body language was telling you that he was hurting. Props for Espinoza. Performed really well. I like his boxing. I like his combinations. Worked the body, worked upstairs. He's got a good future.
And it seemed like Espinoza's game plan was certainly working, and that was go to the body, slow Caraballo down, which he did, then go to the head, then use movements, and all of that paid off in a big way. I'm sure you agree with that stoppage. Sometimes you have to stop a fighter and save him from himself.
Yeah, definitely. Look, he was not showing you anything else, any promising, any future opportunities, and also you can just read his body. You can see it in his face. He knew he was outclassed, and so I think the corner they did a good job stopping the fight. There's no need to send out their fighter and just receive extra punishment for no reason.
It will go down as a big TKO win for young Frank Espinoza, who will now improve to 5-0, 5 knockouts. And we spoke about the storyline earlier. He linked up with legendary trainer Ray Woods, who is very selective about who he trains. Ray, the stepfather of Diego Chico Corrales. And the mission that Espinoza wants to deliver for Ray is to give him one more world champion. So he's clearly on his way there. Mikey, do you see the makings of a future world champion in what we saw tonight?
He has a good future. He looks good. I like what I've seen.
And let's get the official particulars of this stoppage. Here is David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Ray Armendariz calls a halt to this contest at the end of round number 3 on advice of the ringside physician, declaring your winner by knockout. He's still undefeated, Frank Knuckles Espinoza.
Espinoza gets the 5th win, 5th by knockout. His record stays flawless. He said he didn't want the fight to stop in the corner, but that's what ended up happening. He'll take the win either way. Let's hear from him. Let's go into the ring. Here is Sophia.
Frank, congrats on the win. Now, something you said in the press conference was in your last fight, you were really excited, but this time around, same excitement, but you wanted to break your opponent down. What did you think about what you did tonight?
Yeah, I was very proud of my performance, you know what I mean? Like I always say, I went in there, did my thing, did what my coaches told me to do, and I got the job done, you know what I mean? He left the ring, so that's what I'm supposed to do.
I heard your coaches from the beginning, be patient, but then they were like, hey, we're seeing the opportunity. When he slips, you better get with that uppercut. What else was your corner telling you?
Just, keep that jab going, break his body down. You know what I mean? I heard it when I was in the ring, so that's what I was trying to do, but I always get excited, so when he was trying to fight, hey, I'm not ducking no smoke, so I'm getting up in there too.
Well, congrats on the win. How soon can we see you inside the fight, and maybe perhaps for the 4th round?
Whenever, you know what I mean? I'm always ready, so yeah, whenever they say you have your next fight, I'm ready.
Congrats, Frank. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Sophia. He's certainly a confident young man. You heard that in his voice there, Mikey. So as we were saying before the decision, his goal is to be a world champion for his trainer, Ray Woods. The tools are there. 5-0, 5 knockouts, certainly all the signs there to be a future world champion.
I do like what I see. I like his boxing. I like how he was placing combinations upstairs, downstairs, and he's in good hands. Great trainer, great coach. I think he has a bright future.
He certainly does. And for Luis Caraballo, he took the loss today, but he hung in there early. Would you have any tips, advice for him as he continues in his career? It seemed like he came out hot, but obviously he was absorbing a lot to the body, which it's very difficult to take as a professional fighter.
Maybe take a fight or two against, lesser quality opponents just to get his confidence back and get on a winning streak. Facing someone like Espinoza like this is going to be tough, But he did good. He was doing well in the first round. He came fighting, came swinging. He was always game, but you do see the effects of the damage that he was taking as the rounds carried on were starting to make an effect.
It certainly was the case, but electric win for Frank Espinoza. We have two more fights on our prelim card, and headlining our prelim card today is the heavyweight, 19 years old, Leo Atang. He's from the UK. He's an absolute sensation. I think the UK fans are going to have to maybe pause the FIFA game to watch this, because they're going to want to see their man Leo Atang in action. But before that, next up, we talked about a young, exciting fighter. I got another one for you, Mikey. Sammy Contreras. He's only 22 years old, 7-0, and the comparisons have been to a young Oscar De La Hoya. He's from Los Angeles, California. He's in action here tonight. So what do you think this atmosphere is going to be like? He's fighting here at the Hallowed War Grounds.
Oh, when you're from LA, you're fighting here, and you're a hometown favorite with a lot of expectations. That could put some pressure on you. That could put some pressure, being so young and all eyeballs looking at you. Let's see how he does. Let's see how he performs. But these are all the learning, experiences that I'm talking about. When you develop as a young fighter, you got to encounter these type of challenges, these types of atmospheres to overcome, so that when you do make it to the big stage, you're not, a deer in headlights and then freeze, because you've experienced a little bit here, a little bit there along your career.
Certainly. We'll see how Sammy Contreras responds to that. Sophia, you spoke with the young, motivated there, Frank Espinoza. Do you expect to see the same confidence from Sammy Contreras when he comes out here tonight?
I think so. He is a young and hungry fighter, and just like Mikey said, fighting in LA is great, but you can also feel that pressure. Something that I will add that he said during the presser that I loved is that it's easier for fighters to stay active now that we have all these promotionals under one broadcast on DAZN. It helps these fighters stay active, and usually it used to be that the prospects fought on the promoter's card, but now they're getting even more exposure. So I think it's a win-win for all of us, for fight fans and for the fighters.
For sure.
There's so many promoters that have now linked with DAZN, and Eddie Hearn's been speaking about this all week, and this actually is a huge win for fans because we're getting great matchups, right? Some of the best prospects fighting each other, fighting on different cards. And Mikey, you've obviously experienced the entire promoter game from end to end. Having the ability to make good fights happen, especially as you're coming up in your career. I mean, that's paramount for young fighters.
Look, when you were stuck to one promoter, one network, sometimes it's hard to get certain matches, and now that most of the big promoters are all under one banner, with DAZN being the broadcasting, that's great, because the fans get to see fights that otherwise wouldn't match up. It wouldn't happen. Now the promoters are working together, one banner, one network, pushing for certain fights that the fans want to see, and that's what really boxing should have given us, and we're seeing that now, finally.
And next up, after Sammy Contreras, will be our headliner for our prelims here, Matchroom Boxing on DAZN. That will be Leo Atang. Sophia, before we continue here, let's talk a little bit about our main card later this evening on DAZN. It's a stacked card, and we're all looking forward to some of these fights. The co-main event, Andy Cruz, a must-win fight for him. He took a loss last time out. He was devastated. He's back. He's ready to make a statement, the gold medalist, of course. And then in our main event, Diego Pacheco, the hometown fighter, last time he was here in 2024, he left with big impression with that body shot against Sulecki. So a big card here tonight.
Big card here tonight, and I want to touch a little bit on that co-main event with Andy Cruz. We saw that fight back in January. I think he did great, amazing, but he's trying to get back on that winning streak. And just like he said, with every fight, you learn something, win or lose, but he's just excited to show them what Andy Cruz has in him, what is still to come of him, and tonight he plans to do just that.
He certainly does, and I think for Andy Cruz, it really can't be overstated how important this is. He can't take 2 losses in a row, so this is going to be everything for his career. And in the main event, Diego Pacheco, the theme here, I think, has been young fighters, local fighters, making their name, continuing to make their name, but it's also been really smart, motivated young fighters. And Diego Pacheco made the move of getting a new trainer. He's now linked up with he's now linked up with Buddy McGirt in his corner. He wanted to get to another level, and I think that shows a lot of maturity for a 25-year-old.
Look, Buddy McGirt's known for being a more defensive-oriented trainer. I think Diego is looking to refine his defense a little bit more, and that's why he decided to go with Buddy McGirt. Buddy McGirt has been a great trainer for many years now and has had great champions. And Diego's in search of that. Again, sometimes you just need someone to remind you, someone to teach you, and you know, tweak a little bit of your game plan. And that's what Diego was, you know, looking for to get him to that next level, because he's about to step into the ring with the world champions of the sport, and he wants to be the best that he can be.
Certainly, there were big names floated for Diego Pacheco in upcoming fights. Canelo Alvarez was one of them. Hamza Shiraz was another one. So Diego Pacheco now linking up with Buddy McGirt, looking to take it to that next level. He's undefeated, but he was dropped his last fight. It went to decision, so he's looking to get even better. So we have a stacked card, like we said. In our main event, we mentioned Diego Pacheco, but I will be remiss if we don't have a little bit of conversation about the man across the ring from him, and that is Immanuwel Aleem. And if you listen to some of the lead-up, Aleem is nothing but confident against Pacheco. He came out to the press conference with a hazmat suit. He said, "I'm going to get a body." And if you heard from his father, Omar, he said there is some divine forces for his son Aleem. He said it's part of the cosmos here. So they're feeling some spiritual energy going into this main event, Sophia.
That's right. And to Emmanuel's corner, they said, you know, Pacheco is just a stop that we need to make in order to get Canelo. But the confidence was through the roof. And, hey, that's what you need.
That's what you need. So obviously, you know, both fighters want that big prize, but neither can overlook the man in front of him. And I think, Mike, you could speak to this, how important it is every fight in that stepping stone. You never want to overlook your opponent. That's probably one of the worst things you could do as a fighter.
Definitely. Diego right now can't overlook his opponent. He knows there's big plans for him in the future, but he's got to treat every fight like if it was the world title fight, because one setback can set him back, you know, a year or two. It can really hurt his career. So every fight is just as important right now, because one leads to the next, and that next one will be that big title shot that he's looking for.
Certainly, it absolutely will, and that's coming up later tonight, our main event of our main card, Diego Pacheco versus Immanuwel Aleem. Next up, we have the young 22-year-old Sammy Contreras. He's taking on Jorge Ayala. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. Sammy Contreras weighed in at 136.2 pounds. His opponent, Ayala, 135.8. Contreras listed at 5'11". Ayala, 5'8". So he's going to be punching up here tonight. Contreras is also the hometown fighter here from Los Angeles, California. And so he'll certainly be playing off of the crowd. They're starting to file in here. We had some fans here for Federico Pacheco. Of course, they're going to stay here for his brother, Diego Pacheco. And that is our next card underway. After that, our main event for our prelims, Leo Atang, first time on U.S. soil competing here. Brilliant fighter from the UK, only 19 years old. But before that, we have our co-main event of the prelims. Let's get it started. Here's David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Carson, California, live on DAZN, the action continues with a special lightweight attraction. Now making his way to the ring from Querétaro, Mexico, please welcome Beto, the Shark Ayala.
Making his way to the ring, Jorge Ayala also goes by Beto, fighting out of Mexico, 5 weeks removed from his last fight, and so he knows that when an opportunity is there to play spoiler, he needs to take it. That's what he's going to do here tonight. But Mikey, he just fought June 13th of this past year, so he's getting right back in there.
That's what it takes. I mean, you got to be able to get in the ring, get back in training, you know, and then sometimes you get a call, you know, within a week or two, and you're like, hey, I need you. We need somebody to jump in the ring, and you got to stay ready. You got to stay active. You know, I remember when I was up and coming, we didn't take much time off. You know, we took maybe a few days, 4 or 5 days off, and then we're back in the gym. Stay active, stay in the gym, stay training. Because you never know when that next phone call will come, you know? You got to stay in shape.
And that really is such a big part of it. It's so difficult as a boxer to go through training camp the way you need to go through to compete in the ring. But I think the other tough part to navigate, and luckily we were talking about this earlier, Sophia, it's getting easier now with the matches being able to be made and more opportunities for fighters. But that's a whole nother part of it. The business of boxing, getting ready to stay by the phone. When your name is called, you may get a big opportunity. You may not get that again.
Yeah, you have to stay ready. Those who stay ready don't have to get ready. And in boxing, that's super important, just like our co-main event.
And let's go back into the ring. Here's David Diamante.
And now entering the arena, please welcome the undefeated young fighter from Los Angeles, Samuel Contreras.
Immanuwel Contreras. His dad put gloves on him at just 4 years old in front of the family TV. 200 amateur fights later, the LA kid fights at home tonight. Comparisons have been made to a young Oscar De La Hoya, so that will add expectations here. But so far, he's undefeated, 7-0, 3 wins by knockout. So far, he's lived up to those expectations, but those are going to continue to stay with him during his career.
Oh, definitely. Look, he's a promising young fighter, fighting here in his hometown of LA, right here in Carson, your backyard, basically. So there's a lot of expectations. He's got to learn to be patient, calm, and just overcome, the pressure of the fans and the media and everybody looking at him.
Ladies and gentlemen, from beautiful Carson, California, live on DAZN, we are set to go with our next bout of the evening. And it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with Top Rank Incorporated. Introducing your 3 judges scoring this contest from ringside. Dr. Lou Moret, Pat Russell, and Fernando Villarreal. And at the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring, referee Ray Corona. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he wears black with silver trim. His official weight, 135 3/4 pounds. Professional record, 2 victories against 2 defeats. He fights out of Querétaro, Mexico. Please welcome Beto, the Shark Ayala. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears teal with silver piping. His official weight, 136 1/4 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign as a professional with a record of 7 victories, no defeats, 3 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Los Angeles, California, please welcome Samuel Contreras.
Go fighter, 2 seconds.
Mouthpiece. Nothing below there, nothing below there. You want to touch gloves, do it now. God bless.
Samuel "Sammy" Contreras, only 22 years old. Expectations on him, comparisons to a young Oscar De La Hoya. That's because he's a 14-time national champion. He's had 200-plus amateur bouts against the likes of Abdullah Mason, Emmanuel Vargas, and many others. He's already got 3 wins in 2026. He's in the teal trunks. Across the ring is a young, hungry Jorge Ayala. He's from Mexico. He's motivated. His last fight out was only a month or so ago, so he's ready for this opportunity as well. This one is scheduled for 6 rounds in the lightweight division.
Similar to his opponent, Sammy was last in the ring 2 months ago, so he's staying active, something that he mentioned earlier this week, and we're seeing him here do it in LA, and you heard his friends and his family cheering on, and I'm sure that adds some excitement.
Good use of his left hand by Contreras, jabbing and hooking with the left hand. That's always good to see from a young fighter. To learn how to master that left hand, the range, the distance. He can manage a lot of things off of that left hand.
Contreras listed at 5'11", Ayala at 5'8", so Contreras will have the height advantage and the reach advantage, and it looks like, to Mikey's point, he's looking to use that tonight. Stay at distance with the jab.
Fast, jab, solid. Look at that. They don't always have to land. Sometimes, like I say, it's just to keep a distance or to measure your opponent. But he's doing very well with that jab.
We're also seeing some hand speed by Ayala as Contreras comes on the inside. He landed a couple shots there, and they were sneaky quick. Some great work by Contreras. Downstairs, upstairs, showing a little bit of everything. Showing some movement here. Still a feeling out round, though. You can tell these guys are just getting started. There was a long right hand for Contreras. Left hand for Ayala. Both guys trade left hands in the center of the ring. And you can see Contreras getting the distance down for that left hand, this time following it up with a right. That jab for Contreras, lightning quick, and it's very accurate as well. And I think I heard, unless you're comfortable, Mikey, I think I heard maybe a little bit of a prediction for this fight. You're leaning a certain way?
Well, I see Contreras. I like how he's on his toes. I can see the resemblance and the comparisons to De La Hoya.
Yes.
That kind of fighter.
Right.
He likes to stay on his toes. He's very quick, very sharp with it. I could see a knockout, a quick, punch that you don't see. I see his opponent slower, more flat-footed. Even though he's still dangerous, he's swinging some good left hands here and there, but that speed and power from Contreras might be the difference.
And that's exactly it. Brad Goodman of Top Rank, he's compared Contreras to a young Oscar De La Hoya. He said the style when De La Hoya first started, jumping up and down, using the jab, right? That's what you saw in there.
That's what I saw, and I mean, you can see it right away. As soon as the round started, you saw the jab, the left hand, hooking and jabbing again. Those are signs of a fighter that's well-trained, that knows how to use his distance, his height and reach. And then when he's on his toes, makes you even quicker, sharper, faster.
And that is the theme as well that we've been talking about. Another one of the many themes here tonight. Contreras signed to a multi-year deal with Top Rank, but he's fighting here on the Matchroom DAZN card, and that is what we're getting to see, these cross-promotional fights and getting to showcase young prospects, and that's a testament to Eddie Hearn and the other promoters working together to give the fans opportunities to see young fighters, help build their name as we start round 2. This one is scheduled for 6 in the lightweight division, and it looks like we're kind of picking up where we left off. It still seems like Contreras is getting that distance down for his jab, where he might open up a little bit more in the coming rounds.
Yeah, look, I think Contreras also showing me patience, because even though he landed some good shots, he doesn't overcommit. He goes back to the jab, goes back to his range and distance. There's a couple exchanges here, and Ayala is game. He's swinging, but it doesn't overexcite Contreras. Contreras goes back to boxing, gets on his toes, jabs, hooks, walks away. So that shows patience. Maybe that's also why he doesn't have all his victories by knockout, but he waits for the knockout to come to him.
Certainly, Sammy is a boxer. He can brawl, but he's a boxer. He doesn't necessarily look for the knockout. He says knockouts are a bonus. And so he wants to go in there, do his job in a methodical way. And I think, Mikey, there's a huge right hand for Contreras.
Good right hand.
And another one. Ayala might be hurt here in round 2. There's a left hand downstairs for Contreras.
But see how patient he is? He landed some really good shots right there, but he goes back to his jab, stays calm, collected. That's very, very good to see in a young fighter like Contreras.
Left hand downstairs, left hand upstairs for Contreras. Right hand again, and it seems like just a moment away from some of these shots landing cleanly. Right now, Ayala is blocking some of them cleanly. Ayala, only 25 years old. He's been active, 4 fights under his belt, so he's hanging in here. But here comes Sammy Contreras. Quick combinations upstairs, downstairs. But we are noticing patience here. Yep. A lot of patience here for Contreras.
You got 6 rounds. You know, there's no need for him to rush in the first round or second round. He can see that he's breaking down his opponent. Ayala, like I said, he's very flat-footed. He's blocking a lot of punches. He throws a couple punches here and there, but you do see the body language, you know, and the momentum of the fight and everything. You start putting all that together. Contreras should possibly stop him in a few rounds. There's no rush right now. Look at him on his toes, on his feet. Look at him. That does remind you of the
young Oscar De La Hoya. Yeah, the comparisons have certainly been made. Fighting with that left hand out there like that. I've seen De La Hoya in that pose so many times. That will close out round 2. The theme here is the young fighter, Sammy Contreras, only 22 years old. He has a patient game plan. And Mikey, so in a way, that's great for your long-term longevity as a fighter, right? If you can be patient, you don't have to take many risks, you don't have to get caught coming in, so that's great for you as a young fighter. At the same time, we know what marketing is like in modern day boxing, and that is the virality aspect of those highlight reel knockouts, right? We're on DAZN, we're also on YouTube, on Matchroom Boxing and DAZN, so there's this fight is very accessible for a big audience right now. So how do you think as a young fighter you balance those two, the longevity of your career but also wanting to get those highlight reel knockouts?
If I'm Contreras, I'm taking my time. I'm boxing, I'm not getting hit, I'm not taking any punishment, but I'm going to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented so that I can get those highlight reels, so that I can get those explosive knockout reels. And I think that's what he's waiting for. I think that's his game plan. He's dominating the fight, he's in control of the rounds. He's going to wait for the right opportunity to unleash a good overhand right or a good left hook and put his opponent out.
Round 3 here, and this is the 3rd fight of our prelim card. 4 fights here at Matchroom Boxing, our prelims, and then our main card, Matchroom Boxing on DAZN. 4 more huge fights, of course, headlined by Diego Pacheco and Immanuwel Aleem. But right now, young Sammy Contreras standing in the center of the ring. Been getting his timing, working his jab, but he has a game Jorge Ayala across the ring from him. And Ayala, if you notice, he's moving forward, right? He's not backing down.
Look, this round he started coming forward with more pressure, more punches, more volume. This corner must have told him, look, on the outside, he's got the reach and the height. You can't do nothing from the outside. Get on the inside, put some pressure, and play. You know, you got to take a little gamble here and there. And I think that's what he's doing, which actually he's having some success also. You know, maybe not as effective and you know, hurting Contreras, but he's having some success, landing some punches, maybe making things a little more complicated for Contreras. I think Contreras is a better fighter overall. I think he will, you know, learn from all this. Maybe figure out which distance, which way to walk, but he's jabbing well. Now Ayala slowed down just a tiny bit, which allows Contreras to jab again.
And you spoke about Ayala coming forward. He's from Mexico, so I think that's probably the least surprising thing that there is a fighter from Mexico moving forward, pushing the action, and that's what we love to see from our Mexican fighters. Slow down just a hair now, and maybe this is an opportunity for Contreras to step on the gas.
I'd like to see that right hand by Contreras right now with that low left hand by Ayala. I think that's good opportunity for Contreras to land that. Oh, there you go. That right
on cue. Mikey Garcia called it.
Another one.
And there's another right hand for Contreras.
He's got that left hand way too low, man. There you go.
And Contreras looking to take advantage. We do see some blood on the left side of the face of Contreras, and it looked like he took a big shot there from Ayala.
The nose is bleeding a little bit.
So Sammy Contreras, a little bit of adversity, some blood on the nose, and a tough opponent in front of him. But continuing with his game plan, setting up the right hand. There it is again, just misses.
all of this is great experience for a fighter like Contreras. Little adversity, just like you mentioned, a game opponent that can take a punch, that doesn't go down with the first punch you land, that also can, get you to bleed a little bit. All these things are great experience opportunities in a developing fighter's career like this.
And I think to your point, Mikey, you don't want to get to the championship level without ever having gone through that adversity, right? If you have a cut your first time at the championship level, you may not be sure how to deal with it, but deal with it here at the War Grounds and learn how to get through that, learn how to get to your corner, let his cutman do the work, say, okay, this might be distracting a little bit, but I can make adjustments, right? And that's what Contreras is getting.
That's what he's gaining from this fight. He's clearly winning every round, but there's little bits and pieces of experience that you're gaining that are much more valuable than just a victory in the first round.
We spoke about what Contreras has achieved. 14-time national champion, 200-plus amateur bouts. He's fought great competition in the amateurs. Mexican, Salvadorian, and Honduran heritage, and so he's representing, and across the ring, Ayala from Mexico, and we're seeing the Mexican style. He's coming forward. That's how he started round 3, and it looks like that's how he's going to start round 4 here. This one is scheduled 4-6 in the lightweight division. And there again, jab, right hand by Contreras, this time partially blocked by Ayala. And if you notice, Mikey, you spoke about Ayala's left hand and his right hand. Now it's up, but later in the rounds, it seems to dip a little bit. Maybe that will give openings to Contreras.
Yeah, it seems like right now he's a little fresh from the break, but just like in the last round, he started to keep that left hand a little too low, and that allowed Contreras to start landing the right hand. Oh, a good body shot by Ayala. He's trying, he's got a couple shots in there.
Ayala going to the body. Huge left hand for Contreras. Again to the body, and Contreras putting on a show here in round 4. Big right hand upstairs for Contreras. Right hand again for Contreras. He's lining it up, teeing off on Ayala. We're starting to see that left hand dip a little bit, and especially with the height and reach advantage, that right hand over the top for Contreras has been there. And I'm curious, Mikey, we spoke about the height difference here, 5'8" to 5'11". Obviously, you've been the shorter fighter in a certain amount of your fights, and I'm sure you've had to work with that. So what would you do if you're Ayala to kind of close that?
Well, I would try to actually get lower and get shorter and bend my knees, get on the inside, get on his chest. I'm being outclassed from the outside because his height and reach are too great for me. So I'm going to stay low and get on the inside, make it complicated for him, smother him if I can, make it a very close quarters fight. And I think he tried that in the previous round, the early part of the previous round. This round, not so effective. A little low there, but not. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what you have to do.
In a way,
it's hard to do that when you got someone like Contreras who's very effective with his jab and his height and reach.
And right on cue, that right hand landed. So in a way, you're saying Ayala should make himself smaller, give Contreras less of a target. He's not doing so now. And here comes Sammy Contreras, left hand upstairs, right hand upstairs. There's another left hand that lands clean. Contreras teeing off here in round 4. Right hand to the body lands clean for Contreras. Ooh, another one upstairs. This time, the head of Ayala accidentally hits the nose of Contreras. Remember, we saw blood already from that nose. So more adversity for the young Contreras, only 22 years old, but certainly he's in full control here. But not an easy fight, and definitely not an easy opponent. A very game opponent here in Jorge Ayala.
It's a game opponent. It's one of those opponents that is going to test you, is going to push you, is going to make it, a real fight for you. You're going to learn from the experience. He's not here to collect the paycheck by taking a knee with the first shot he gets,
Well, as big as of an opportunity as this is for Sammy Contreras, he's fighting at home. Contreras is. We talked about the comparisons to great champions that have come before him. Ayala has a massive opportunity here because, yes, he's 2-2, but if he wins this fight, if he can somehow turn this around, I mean, sky is the limit for Jorge Ayala, taking out a young, hot prospect, and I'm sure that was on his mind coming into this fight.
And that's why he's been gaming. That's why he hasn't taken a knee or nothing like that, because he still believes he can probably do something with this. Even if he gets him to go to the distance, maybe, gets a good round or two in here, that shows, his ability to fight and stay with the top contender and a top prospect like Contreras, and they'll give him another fight. They'll bring him on again.
This one scheduled for 6. We're in round 5, and as we've seen in the beginning of the rounds, Ayala moving forward, hands up. Contreras being patient. He lands a couple jabs. We're seeing some great movement from Contreras, right? He lands the 2 jabs, sometimes with the right hand, and then he immediately shifts to his left. And by the time Ayala recovers from that, Contreras has already moved sidestep to the left.
Yeah. Ayala starting pretty strong this round. Landed some good shots right there earlier in the round. Just like that.
Left hand to the body for Contreras. Nice left hand, right hand for Contreras in the center of the ring. But Ayala is moving forward. He's in Contreras' grill. And if you want to talk a little bit about the elements here, right? We're here in Carson, California. It's about 84 degrees. We're fighting outside. And Ayala has fought at all different weights, 140, 151, 135. Whenever the challenge comes, he's ready. So he's a guy that says, I don't care about the conditions, put me in there. And that's what we're seeing here tonight. So his toughness is certainly on display.
He's definitely tough and definitely game. Oh, good right hand by Contreras there. I want to see more combinations by Contreras now. He's already outboxed him for 5 of the rounds. Let's step up the game. Let's step on the pedal there and let's get him out. Let's try to put a little more behind the punches. See if we can get him out or hurt him. Oh, good uppercut by Ayala.
Beautiful left uppercut for Ayala. But Contreras seemingly took it well. He's answering left hand, right hand. And it'll be fascinating to see the instructions in the corner after round 5 if the Contreras team says, hey, you should go for a knockout here and up the pace.
Well, it goes back to the topic of the sport now in this age where there's also marketing behind it, where you also want to have, some exposure, some highlight reels. You've already boxed, you've already taken care of business, you're winning the fight. Maybe you take a little risk. Try to get that highlight reel, try to get the stoppage, knock them out. Even if it's just for 30 seconds or a minute of a round, and see how your opponent responds.
And clearly, Mikey, you saying that, watching the first 5 rounds, you feel that for Contreras to do so, he's not in jeopardy of being knocked out or hurt.
No, I don't think he would be hurt. He's got caught with a few uppercuts here and there, but nothing serious to consider, him getting knocked out. I wouldn't think that's a threat. Sometimes you want to test your opponent by, 30 seconds to a minute of pressure, of combinations, solid punches, to see his reaction, see how he responds to that. Does he shy away? Do you read his body? Is he trying to hold on? And that gives you a good understanding of where to go the next minute or two. If he's fighting hard and he's still, swinging hard, okay, maybe you go back to your boxing.
And certainly with this 6th and final round, we spoke about what we want to see Contreras do. For Ayala, what would you like to see him do? Obviously, he's moving forward. He's able to keep his hands up at times. He's also landing some hard shots. We saw the uppercut last round. What do you want to see from Ayala in this last round?
And I would like to see Ayala throw everything. I mean, you're losing the fight, but you haven't been hurt either, so go for it. Maybe you land something or just do something so good that at least they call you back. You don't just go out there and keep doing what you're doing. You want to change something up.
And we spoke about the fascinating impossible instructions in the corner of Sammy Contreras before that round. Sophia, you were able to get in there. What'd you learn?
Yeah, well, I saw them. They were trying to handle the blood that was coming out of his nose. But they asked him, you feel good? He says, yeah. They reminded him, keep throwing punches, but move out the way. You're throwing them, and you're standing right in the middle of him. So let's see what we get in this last round.
There's that uppercut to start the flurry for Ayala. Contreras being patient. There's a right hand as well for Contreras. Another one, but Ayala is game here. I mean, he's really moving forward. He is not making this easy for Contreras. That uppercut again. Ayala saw that the uppercut with the left hand is open, and he's taking it. Blood streaming down the nose of Sammy Contreras. Lands the right hand again upstairs. Both these guys trading in the center of the ring. This is what the War Grounds represents here in Carson, California. Dignity Health Sports Park. Fighters putting their all on the line. We're seeing that play out here in the 6th and final round.
Work, guys. Push. Push.
Left hand, and again upstairs for Contreras. Ayala answers right back. That uppercut has been a weapon all fight. Huge left uppercut by Contreras. Ayala eats it, walks through it, moves forward.
Oh!
Huge combination by Sammy Contreras. Can he get the stoppage here? The right hand landed flush, and Ayala stumbled backwards momentarily. Left hand for Contreras. Few seconds to go here in the 6th and final round. Left hand for Ayala. Contreras answers back, and that will be the end of the fight. Sammy Contreras, Jorge Ayala paying tribute to the tremendous fights that have happened here in the War Grounds, and this is what this venue represents. Young, hungry fighters putting it all on the line in the center of the ring, and that really played out. And what was especially exciting about that fight, Mikey, was that the longer it went, the more intense it got. I almost would love to see 6 more rounds of that.
Definitely. I think Ayala warmed up and started swinging better. When his corner told him to go on the inside and exchange more, he followed his corner's instructions, and he made the fight a little more competitive. Whereas Contreras was very, very dominant, using the jab, using the left hooks. But when he allowed Ayala to get on the inside, now he has to fight back. Now he has to stay in the pocket and exchange, which made for a better fight. I still think Contreras won the fight. I think he won maybe 5 out of the 6 rounds, but they were competitive rounds. Even the ones that Contreras was winning, you know, maybe 2 or 3 of those rounds were still very competitive.
There were moments for Ayala, and I think we all learned about the toughness of Jorge Ayala. I don't think there's going to be a line down this block trying to take on Jorge Ayala. He came forward, he fought with the Mexican style, he was in Contreras' grill. He actually drew first blood. Contreras was bleeding from the nose, but fantastic performance as well, though, from Sammy Contreras, because he had the tough opponent in front of him, but he didn't relinquish control. He didn't he didn't become sloppy, right? He didn't sell out for the knockout. He said, I'm going to work my jab, I'm going to land the right hand. He did a lot of body work, especially towards the end of the fight. Both fighters traded uppercuts towards the end of the fight as well. So just a great matchup between 2 young, hungry fighters. Contreras 22, Ayala 25, and tremendous back and forth fight, but it did seem like Contreras was maybe the sharper man as the fight went on, and he probably, we'll see it with the judges' scorecards, but probably banked more rounds.
Yeah, I think so too. He was, like I said, I think he's won 5 out of 6 rounds. I'm happy to see him. He fought very well, patient, showed class. Let's see how the judges have it.
And it does look like the scorecards are in the hands of David Diamante. Let's go into the ring and get the official decision. Here's David.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of action here at Dignity Health Sports Park, we go to the judges' score totals, and they read as follows. Dr. Lou Moret, 60-54. Pat Russell and Fernando Villarreal both scored about 59-55. All 3. For your winner by unanimous decision, he's still undefeated, Samuel Contreras.
Contreras improves to 8-0. 3 knockouts on his record for the 22-year-old. We mentioned the young comparisons to Oscar De La Hoya. We're going to hear from him now. Let's go into the ring. Here is Sofia.
Thanks, guys. Sam, congrats on the win tonight. Now, we know that when a Mexican enters the ring, you're Salvadorian, Mexican, and from Honduras. What type of fighter did your opponent show you? We got in all that war.
No, he gave me a good war. You know, he gave me a good match. He was a tough opponent, so much respect for him and his team.
Now, something you mentioned earlier this week is staying active. Your 4th fight of the year. Now, all promotions under one broadcast. How good does it feel to get it even more exposure?
It feels amazing. It's a pleasure, you know, the exposure, the fans, the excitement, everything is just amazing to me, you know. I got to keep working hard, though, you know. Made a lot of mistakes today, but I got to go back to the drawing board and fix them.
What are some of the things that you want to go back and adjust?
You know, whatever my team sees, you know, whatever they point out, they see that I need help in, you go back to the work and get straight to it.
Now, you mentioned the excitement of being here. As soon as you walked out, we heard the screams, the cheering all throughout the fight. How good does it feel, and a message that you want to send your supporters that are here?
It feels amazing, you know. This is LA, this is where all the fans are at, you know. So I appreciate everybody that came out to here for today's support, you know. All my fans, friends, and hopefully I can gain some new fans today, you know. So thank you.
Congrats on the win. We're going to send it back to you guys.
One more thing. I want to say thank you to Matchroom, The Zone, and Top Rank, Brad Goodman, for everything, for all the support. You guys keeping me busy. Appreciate it. Hey, un saludo a todos mis latinos que sea aquí. Vamos!
Thank you.
Thanks, Sofia. Big win here for Sammy Contreras. It wasn't easy, Mikey. He had to go through adversity, had the bloody nose, but was able to get the unanimous decision victory. We spoke about the comparisons in fighting style to Oscar De La Hoya, right? He fought with that left hand out, the jumping up and down, the movement. But what about the comparisons as an entertainer, right? You saw him shout out the crowd there. He seems happy to be here. He seems excited. So he's also doing that as well in terms of that personality and connecting with fans.
Oh, for sure. He's got a good personality. He's smiling. His fans are excited to see him. He's a great prospect, man. I like the kid. He looked great. So I think there's a bright future for him. Obviously, this fight was not the easiest for him, and that's good. That's what you need as a young fighter. You need fights like this that will challenge, that will push you. They teach you a lot more than, like I said, a first-round knockout. You know, this guy Ayala, he was game, he was tough, he took his punches, and that's what you need to develop as a young fighter.
100%. Ayala was tough as nails, and he gets a lot of credit for coming forward the way he did. But the winner tonight, Sammy Contreras. And the other part of it, Mikey, that you can speak to is that West Coast California boxing culture. They love their boxing out here, and you can build a fan base. And we know that Diego Pacheco, who's in our main event, is looking to continue to do so. We've seen so many fighters, we mentioned De La Hoya many times, come out of this area. What do you think it is about LA, about California, how they rally behind their fighters here?
So there's so much boxing, so much history here in Southern California. If you read the history, you know, back to the 40s and 50s, there was always been boxing. Some great champions from the area, big notable names along the way, and the crowd just follows boxing. I think a lot of people can relate to a fighter's career when they compare to just life in general, overcoming obstacles, challenges in life, looking for a better future for your family, you know, people coming from other countries to search for that American dream, working your way up. And a boxer's life is very similar. You start from 4 rounds from the ground, building your career up, overcoming challenges in your opponents, until one day, hopefully being successful and becoming world champion, and the fan base follows that. They know that. They see themselves in the ring, there's a fighter that they like, maybe it's a neighboring hometown kid, and they support him because they resemble that in their own way.
Certainly they do, and we're going to actually have that storyline play out in real time later on with Chop Chop Gonzalez, who is trained by your brother, Robert Garcia, and he turned his life around, and now he's building that fan base, and we're going to see him in action here later tonight. We talked about Eddie Hearn working with many other promoters and allowing us to see this young talent on cross-promotional card. It's a great thing for fans. So let's go to Sofia Gutierrez, who is now with Eddie Hearn.
Eddie, it's great to be back here in LA now. We got a really great card tonight, but someone who's coming up, Leo Atang, a heavyweight, still so young, so many fights in just under a year. What can you tell us about him?
He's a brilliant young fighter. Like you said, 19 years of age, 7-0. You see really, really fast hands. I mean, looks immaculate. A lot of people talking about him being kind of like the new coming of Anthony Joshua as AJ's career hits the back end. But a completely different experience for him. I think that's the key. When you've got UK fighters fighting abroad, you know, every part of the experience is invaluable, and especially like this arena is really unique. I mean, most people are standing up there in a bar because it's like 90 degrees, so you're coming out, you're a guy from York, you probably don't know, in the UK, up north, it's a lot colder there, so it's just like taking in the environment and the occasion. And I think you're going to see this guy progress into a world heavyweight champion, and at 19 he looks a phenomenal prospect.
You know, something that he said, maybe a double-edged sword about his fast hand speed, meaning that all of his fights have been caught early, you know. Do we want to see him more rounds just so he can showcase more of his experience?
You always want that. I mean, you know, we've got so many great prospects right now, especially in the heavyweight division with Leo and Terra Moana. He's 11-0, and like all of his fights, most of them have been in the first round. Leo, what he does is when he stings an opponent, he jumps all over him. The hand speed's so fast, sometimes the refs sort of get a bit anxious and jump in. So hopefully these guys will allow a decent finish. Listen, a win's the most important thing, but if he can just take his time as he starts maturing now, setting the shots up, he's got brilliant punch selection and very, very fast hands.
Now, something you mentioned earlier this week, maybe just flirting with the idea, but perhaps heavyweight versus heavyweight. Federico Pacheco, who started the night off for us.
Yeah, because they're two young prospects. I mean, you know, I look at Leo Atang, everyone's talking about Leo Atang and Moses Talma, but Leo's years behind Moses in terms of his progression and the fights he's in. But eventually, in 2 or 3 years' time, if you're still winning, all these heavyweights are going to be fighting each other. So, you know, the division now with AJ and Fury and Usyk and Wilder and these names, they're all coming to the end. So these guys who are 19, 20, 21, if they keep winning, we're going to get some great heavyweight fights. So, long way to go. But, yeah, Federico Pacheco against Leo Atang, maybe one day for the world heavyweight title.
All right, we'll see. We'll circle back to this now. Of course, we have to talk about our main broadcast. Let's start off with our co-main, Andy Cruz. We're all excited to see him back inside the ring after a spectacular fight against Raymond Murataya back in January.
Good fight, but we didn't win. So, like, you know, it's all very well. I mean, he's had, what, 7 fights? So it was such a big risk for him to fight Murataya, but we all believed he could do it. Murataya was great that night. It was also physically really impressive, and I think it made Andy Cruz just question whether 135 pounds was the right division for him. This may be his last fight at 135 before he moves to 30. Abraham Montoya, we love him. Like, every time he comes, he's in epic wars, and I want Andy to go out there and make a statement tonight because he should be levels above Montoya, but if he's not, he'll have a tough night's work.
Yeah, he did say win or loss, every fight is a learning lesson. Now he's excited to get in there, and he said that he's really excited to show everyone what Randy Cruz really has. Now, of course, I have to get into the main event. We are here in beautiful Los Angeles, my hometown, the Pacheco brothers' hometown. We saw him here against Sulecki a couple years ago. Big night for him as well. Really big night.
You know, I mean, he made a really mature decision to kind of just step back a little bit. We were moving like a train. He was 24 years of age. He was 25-0, and he got a shot at the World Super Middleweight title. And he was changing trainers, and he just felt that his last couple of performances against Macumbi and Sajo were solid. They're great wins, but they weren't quite flowing the way he wanted it to. So, you know, he felt that with his age and with the opportunity to work with Buddy McGirt, give him 1 or 2 fights and he'll be ready for anyone in the division. So there's a lot of pressure tonight because Aleem's talked a great game. We saw him against Lester Martinez. He's a very, very good fighter. But, you know, I'm hoping for a really impressive performance. Last time we were here at the War Grounds, he was brilliant against Sulecki. The atmosphere was great. We'll have more people in here tonight than we did last time. So we're building nicely with Diego Pacheco, and I believe he's a future star of the sport.
Well, we're looking forward to the rest of the card. Eddie, thank you. I appreciate it. Always nice chatting with you. We're going to send it back to you guys.
Sophia, Eddie, thank you so much. Back into our broadcast booth, Karan Bhatia, fourth division champion, Mikey Garcia. So, Mikey, we spoke about Diego Pacheco there and what he's doing. He's made changes. And before we were talking about the culture here in California, in Los Angeles, about building your name. I think that's even more apparent here in the War Grounds because yes, of course, you're braving the elements and it's about 90 degrees here. It is outdoors. But at the same time, you are feeling that fan base, right? That fan base that you've built through your fights here in California is even more apparent here at the War Grounds because it's such an intimate venue.
Definitely, with your fans being right next to you, I'm sure you can hear and distinguish who's your best friend, who's your sister, where your mom is, because it's so close. And that motivates the fighters to fight even harder, and that's why we get such great fights here.
We certainly do. Now, it's one thing to fight at home, but at the same time, we have Leo Atang in our main event this evening. So he's from the UK. He's now coming here. So your thoughts of you got to also travel to build your fan base.
You do. I mean, and this is still early in his career where he can create a new fan base and gain the popularity in the States. He wants to come out here and showcase his skills and win some new fans. That's his opportunity that Atang has tonight.
Atang has that opportunity. One thing we spoke about in our opening was the difference in weight. So Atang is 234. Glen Williams, his opponent, 270. So there's going to be a little bit of a weight difference there, 35 pounds. So we're going to see how that plays out in the ring. The fighters are ready. Our main event for the prelims here on Matchroom Boxing on DAZN is ready to begin. Let's go into the center of the ring. Here's David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Dignity Health Sports Park, we're ready to go with our next bout of the evening, a special heavyweight attraction. Now entering the arena from Houston, Texas, please welcome Glen Gorilla Williams.
Glen Williams, 2-1, representing Houston, Texas. Tonight, he's representing USA, and that's because Leo Atang has made the trip across the pond, the 19-year-old who's known as a heavyweight sensation from the UK, but it's Glen Williams' job to protect his turf. Williams is here to make sure the coronation gets canceled.
It's always going to be a fun matchup when you got someone coming from the UK facing somebody from the States here, and you know, there's always a rivalry. There's always that rivalry between the nations, but let's see who's victorious tonight.
And now entering the arena, please welcome the undefeated Leo Atang.
"19-year-old, 6'6", Leo Atang." Eddie Hearn said, "What a future he has." Turki Al-Sheikh said, "This Atang is special." Darren Barker said, "I want to see his birth certificate." Couldn't believe he's just 19 years old. He's been knocking out opponents like a veteran. And you can only imagine the immense expectations on his shoulders, the young man from York, England. But it's one thing to do it at home. This is only his second time in America, first time fighting on U.S. soil. Let's go to David Diamante in the center of the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Carson, California, live on DAZN, we are set to go with our next bout of the evening, and it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. Introducing your three judges, scoring this contest from ringside: Tiffany Clinton, Jack Reese, and Fernando Villarreal. And at the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring, referee Ray Armendariz. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he wears white with blue trim. Official weight, 270.5 pounds. Professional record, 2 victories, 1 defeat, with 1 win coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, please welcome Glen Gorilla Williams. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears white with red and black trim. He scaled 234.25 pounds. His professional record thus far perfect, 7 fights, 7 victories, with 6 of his 7 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of York, England. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the undefeated, young, hard-hitting Leo Atang.
Come over the other side. Over the other side, coach. All right, over the other side, coach. I want you guys to see this, okay? Look here, man. Right here's legal line for you. Right here's the legal line for you. Any punches that touch those legal lines will be considered fair. Give you both instructions in the dressing room. I expect a clean, fair fight between the 2 of you. Touch them up if you want. Back to your corners and wait.
Leo Atang has had success at the heavyweight level, a perfect record, 7-0, 6 big wins by knockout. The mantra when he fights is don't blink. But the question tonight is, how will those skills translate to fighting in U.S. soil? Across the ring, Glen Williams. He's hungry, he's ready for this moment, and he knows what playing spoiler could mean. Williams in the white and blue trunks, Atang in the red and white. Karan Bhatia on the call, joined by 4-division champion Mikey Garcia and Sofia Gutierrez. And Atang, huge right hand to get the action started in this 6-round heavyweight fight.
That was a really good counter right by Atang. Timed it just perfect.
You can hear these punches ringside from Atang, so he certainly didn't leave the power in the UK. Atang starting hot early here in Carson, California.
Look at the size difference. Those 35 pounds make a big difference.
Williams weighed in at 275 pounds, Leo Atang 234, so he is giving up 35 pounds or so in weight. I spoke to Atang this morning. He said he's not worried about the weight, and he said as far as the prediction, 2nd round knockout. So we'll see if he can manifest that into reality, but that is the prediction for the young 19-year-old Leo Atang. Atang, a former rugby player, and when you hear young, spectacular, up-and-coming heavyweight from the UK, of course the comparisons are going to be there with Moses Atama, Anthony Joshua. Atang actually met with Joshua. Joshua said, hey, one day you'll be better than me. And the reason he said that, Atang picked up the gloves at age 10 or 11, and he feels like the sky is the limit. Remember, he's only 19 years old, Atang is. That's Joshua started boxing when he was 18. So compliments from a former heavyweight champion there, Joshua.
I can see that he is very athletic for his size. You know, being only 19, he's very, very agile. You know, good footwork, good stance. He's not slow, flat-footed.
That right hand almost landed for Atang. And now he's closing the distance on Williams. Williams with a good stiff jab, pauses Atang just for a moment. Nice uppercut from Atang. Closing moments of round 1. Right hand, left hand stumbles Williams. Does Atang have enough time in round 1? No. Williams will make it to the corner, but damage was done by Leo Atang. Remember, remember, before this fight, Atang predicted second round knockout, and it seems like the way round one ended with Williams stumbling back to the corner, that certainly could be a reality.
Yeah, I think he could pull it off. I would like to see Williams use his weight, his size, maybe push him back, put on a solid guard, walk back, walk Atang back, and see if you can use your size a little bit better. Because stay on the outside, you're too slow, you're too flat-footed. You're giving Atang all the opportunities, all the distance and speed that he wants.
And Mikey, you could speak to those expectations. Obviously, you had a lot of expectations with the Garcia name. And a fighter like Atang from the UK, the comparisons are going to be there to Anthony Joshua, Turi Thomas. So he's coming in with those expectations at just 19 years old.
Yeah, he's coming with expectations. He's actually delivering. He's looking really good in that first round. Hurt his opponent at the end of that round. He predicted what, second round? Let's see if he
predicted second round. Leo Atang caught up with him this morning. That was the prediction. End of round one. Atang hurt Williams. There's a right hand for Atang. And Williams covering up. Here comes Leo Atang. Fighters take a tumble.
No knockdown, no knockdown.
And cars called no knockdown by referee Ray Armendariz. Action continues here in round two. Atang has Williams in his sights. And we have a report from the Atang corner. Let's go to Sophia.
Yes, I was able to speak to Sonny Edwards, who is in the corner of Leo Atang, and he said, lovely first round, keep doing what you're doing, don't rush, damage him when you can, and twice when you know it hurts him.
And speaking of damage when you can, that's exactly what Atang is doing. Huge combinations on the ropes by Atang. We mentioned Sonny Edwards, the manager of Atang, so the guidance is there as well for the young 19-year-old. Atang goes for the uppercut there. Referee Ray Armendariz gets them fighters back on track here in round two. We're seeing a patient Atang here, right? Mikey setting up what looks like could be a big right hand.
Going for the body too as well, so that's obviously
huge right by Atang. Also went downstairs. And now Glen Williams, hands are down in the corner. That's not where you want to be against Leo Atang.
Williams is hurt. Williams is hurt. You don't want to be there no more.
Leo Atang looks motivated, looks ready. He predicted second round knockout.
30 seconds to go.
There's a left hand upstairs for Atang. Right hand. Williams doesn't have an answer. Leo Atang teeing off. And that will be called a knockdown here in round two.
Yep, the ropes are holding him on up, so that's a knockdown.
Referee Ray Armendariz. And that will be the end of the fight. Hello, America. Leo Atang announces his presence on U.S. soil with an exclamation point. He predicted second round knockout. He delivered on the second round knockout.
He did, man. He looked good. I like him.
A lot to like there about the young 19-year-old. He stayed composed. He was ready for the moment, poised. It seemed like he wanted to take his time a little bit, enjoy the moment in round one, and then unleash in round two.
He took his time. He hurt him at the end of that first round a little bit, but he took his time in that second round until he found the right moment, the right time when he hurt him against this corner over here and didn't stop. Jumped on him, hurt him. The corners and the ropes held up Williams, but when the referee stepped in the way to give him the 8 count, he could see Williams did not want to be there no more.
And I think that's what you saw, Mikey. And as a fighter, you saw a fighter who didn't want to compete. What did you see in Glen Williams
right before
to make sure that he didn't want to compete?
He's hurt. He don't want to be there no more because you can just see his expression. You see his body language. the eyes will tell you, the facial expression will tell you when a fighter is still lively and hungry to fight, or when he's ready to go home, and you can see that from Williams.
And Leo Atang certainly took advantage of that. He was landing at will against Williams, who was falling out of the ropes. Referee Ray Armendariz certainly made the right call after the knockdown and saw that Williams did not want to continue. So at the end of the day, it's going to be the 8th win for the 19-year-old from York, United Kingdom. He now improves to 8-0, 7 wins by knockout. Let's get the official time. Let's go into the ring. Here's David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Ray Armendariz calls a halt to this contest. The official time of the stoppage, 2 minutes and 50 seconds of round number 4, declaring your winner by knockout. He's still undefeated, Leo Atang.
The one fight that Atang didn't get the knockout, he was upset at himself. So this time he left no doubt. He predicted second round knockout, delivered on the promise, and now 8 wins to his name, 7 of those by knockout. And we will hear from the young 19-year-old. He crossed over the pond, his first time fighting on U.S. soil, only second time in America. And Sophia is standing by with young Leo Atang, and we're going to hear from him now. Let's go into the ring. Here's Sophia.
Leo, congrats on another win. 8 win since you started your professional career a year ago. How good does it feel? Not only that, but being your U.S. debut.
Oh, it was unreal. Everything I've wanted from it. You know, the build up to the fight. LA is lovely. I love looking around, and I'll definitely be looking around more, but the fight as well. You know, all you Americans, you're tough, so it was hard to get him out of there, but we ended up getting it in the end.
Now, you spoke to my broadcast partner, Curran, not too long ago, saying you predicted a second round knockout. What'd you think?
We got it. You know, I think I just said that off the empty head. I didn't want to force it tonight, you know. Again, I hit him with a few big shots early, which normally would have took people out, and he stood there unfazed, so I knew I had to save myself just in case, you know, we went the full way.
Now, you said that you're also falling victim to the hand speed. Early stoppages, not getting to showcase your skills. What type of statement do you think you made tonight?
Yeah, I was happy with it. Like, we punched him up, basically, like, and that's what we wanted to do. You know, the referee didn't jump in early. It was a proper stoppage, and I hope everyone's impressed.
All right, Eddie. Great performance by Leo. What can you tell us about what you saw?
Yeah, what I can tell you is he's 19 years old. He's living a dream. He's had 8 fights in 12 months. And he's just had his US debut, so life couldn't be sweeter. I mean, look at him. He looks $1 million. He's carved out of stone. When I come back, I want to come back as Leo Atang. And, you know, this is a road towards the World Heavyweight Championship. There's a lot of building to be done. And like I said, at 19, you're nowhere near the man, the size that you will be as you progress into your early and mid-20s. So, you know, the plan is to gain the experience, fight all kinds of different styles, you know, do the rounds. And like I said to him, you know, that guy, like, you're just a little bit different. The quality's a bit different over here. Like, the first right hand he hit him with after 15 seconds would have poleaxed most guys over in the UK and some of those Eastern European opponents. So good to find a big, strong, big guy. What was he, 270 odd pounds, the opponent in there tonight. And Leo's got all the attributes, the fundamentals to go on and be world heavyweight champion. Long way to go, but we'll make sure it's done properly. And just a great occasion for a young man, British fighter, world under-19 amateur champion, just to come and experience all of this and to make his US debut. You know, I'm pleased for him, and I know he'll work very hard to get to where he needs to be.
Now, it is really important for fighters to stay active, especially early on in their career. What can we see this next year for Leo?
Well, like, that's the beauty and the blessing of being with Matchroom. I mean, we have over 40 shows a year. Like, for a young prospect to fight 8 times in 12 months, that's virtually unheard of with other promotional companies, especially on big shows, and especially internationally as well. And it's more of the same. You know, we'll step up to 8 rounds soon, but, you know, he hasn't had a chance to do many rounds as it is. So, you know, like I said, nothing too hasty, but also make sure you step up the opposition. You continue to get great quality sparring around the world. The training's top notch. He's got a great team, great people around him as well. So really, you know, nothing can stop him because we know he puts the work in. He's got a great mind. And like I said, when you've got ability, you've got hard work, you've got consistency, the only way we're going is straight to the top.
Now, Leo, last words. What do you have to say to friends and family who are tuning in and to all the new eyes that are watching you today?
Yeah, big thank you to, obviously, all my friends and my family who've come out here all the way to LA to support me. I want to thank everyone out here in LA tonight, making me feel so welcome, like all this week. And yeah, I hope to come back soon.
Congrats on the win. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Sophia. It's hard to believe, Mikey, that Leo Atang is just a teenager. That's spectacular when he predicted second round, delivered on the second round, now has 8 wins as a professional. It really seems like sky is the limit for this young 19-year-old.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. I mean, he's staying active, just like Eddie said. 8 fights in 12 months. I mean, not many fighters get to do that. He's staying busy, improving his skills, gaining experience. I mean, he's got a very bright future. I'm excited to keep seeing him in the near future, see what else he can do, and see him develop in his career.
And we have a huge card coming up. That was our prelims card. Some fantastic action. Young stars making their name here at the War Grounds, this legendary venue. But in our main card, we have some great fighters on tap. Chop Chop Gonzalez, trained by Robert Garcia, a fantastic fighter in his own right. Andy Cruz, who took a loss last time out, shocking, the gold medalist, and he's had so much success, but he's looking to turn it around today. And then Diego Pacheco. We saw his brother earlier this evening, Federico. Now it's Diego's turn. Diego has a new trainer. Last time we were here, he won by knockout. So safe to say Diego is looking to make another statement here at the War Grounds.
Definitely. It's a great card, great action. Some prospects, some contenders. This venue has always showcased great fights. I don't think tonight is going to be an exception. I think all these matches can be very exciting for the fans and will be exciting for the fans. It's always nice to be in a crowd that loves boxing because it motivates you to fight even harder. And I think that's what this venue always does. And that's why they always deliver great matches here.
It certainly does, and I think if there is a theme, it is what the War Grounds delivers and young, hungry fighters getting these cross-promotional opportunities. So that was our prelim card. Thank you so much for being with us. Our main card is coming up next on The Zone. This was Matchroom's Boxing Before the Bell prelims. For Sofia Gutierrez, Mikey Garcia, I am Karan Bhatia. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you on The Zone.
Beautiful uppercut. And the body shot. Pacheco all over him. Right on the money. And it's over. What a knockout from Diego Pacheco. Diego Pacheco continues to live up to the hype.
Second round prediction. He's like, I saw him in the lobby. He's like eating some